What is up with this energy? Holy man, what's going on? If you're like me, a highly sensitive person, you have probably tuned in to some really strong energy going on in the collective right now. I'm here to tell you what's going on with this energy, how it might be affecting you, but most importantly, how you can use it to your advantage. Hi, my name is Valerie. I'm an intuitive energy healer and spiritual mentor, and this energy that we're experiencing right now is something that's been ongoing for some time. It seems to be the energy of the year, and it's a really strong, propelling energy. It's a strong push forward. It's very creative. It's very fiery and energetic. And for the highly sensitive person, this can be very overwhelming. And if you're watching my channel, chances are that you're living with the effects of trauma, maybe PTSD or complex PTSD. I kind of specialize in that. I work with a lot of clients who are highly sensitive persons, empaths, light workers, and people who are living with the effects of trauma. And as I mentioned in an earlier video, I think there's a correlation between people that experience trauma and then go on to develop what we would call symptoms, PTSD, flashbacks, triggers, anxiety, and the highly sensitive person, because nearly everybody experiences trauma at some point in their life, but only about 20% go on to have PTSD or other symptoms like that. And that seems to be about the same percentage of people that in any population are what we call highly sensitive. And what that means is that the highly sensitive person is really very energetically, emotionally sensitive to what's going on around them and is easily overwhelmed. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed, that's not surprising, because in addition to this sort of ramping up, gradually increasing energy of the year, there's something that has intensified that just recently. I've particularly noticed it in the last few weeks. Because of my daily spiritual practice, my energy work, healing work, keeping grounded, I manage my symptoms pretty well. I've transformed from being a survivor to really thriving in life. And it's my power, passion, and purpose to help others do the same as well. So I was wondering, like, I've been kind of aware of this theme for the year and things really picking up, a lot happening. It's all good things, but sometimes it just feels like, I can't take it. It's too much. And I've been sort of aware that, there's these things that go on astrologically, but that's not really my area of specialty. But I have a very good friend. Deborah Sadler is an author. She's written this really awesome book called Words of the Temple. I'll put a link to it down below in case you're interested. But she writes about this in her book. This is the first of a trilogy. And what's going on is basically, I believe it's since 2012, not just planets, the sun, the moon, like in our solar system, but the whole entire solar system is moving in this pattern called the precession of the equinoxes. And we're at a transition point in the solar system's position within the universe, within the galaxy, where we're shifting from a 13,000 year period of darkness, heaviness, competition, very male dominated energy, and we're coming around a corner into what she calls a period of light, and the arising of a more feminine energy, a more cooperative, unified, unity type of energy. And this is what's intensifying in this year. And then in particular in this, just the last couple of weeks, I was wondering about this. So I called Deb the other day and I said, like, really seriously, I know she knows all about the astrology stuff. I said, what is going on? Because it's like this really insistent pushing, like go, go, go energy. Things that I had in the works, like things that I was percolating on and kind of working towards, goals that I'm thinking, I'll start that in a few weeks and that's something for down the line, but this is the direction I'm moving in. And these things are just falling in my lap. I've been working on my business and getting more clients, doing more sessions, and I've been wanting to move more towards coaching as a sort of a spiritual mentor, because like I said, I really feel it's my purpose to help other people who are going through maybe a spiritual awakening or transitioning into an awareness of the traumas and processing that. And that's really my jam. That's what I do. I hadn't listed it on my website. I hadn't worked it into my business plan yet, but I knew it was coming on the horizon. And then last week, somebody just found me, Googled, found my website, called me up, and booked a discovery call, which I hadn't even gotten to that point yet. But I went ahead and I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'm doing this now. So we did the discovery call. And then a week later, this person signed on for 6 months of coaching. I hadn't even figured out what that exactly looked like yet. Like, are we doing weekly sessions? Are we doing live? Are we doing healing? Are we doing coaching? And I sat in meditation. I asked for guidance. I got some bullet points. I shared them with this person and they signed up for 6 months of coaching. I wasn't planning on doing that right now, but the universe said, here, do it now. So anyways, I called Deb up and I said, what's going on? And she said, oh, it's the nodes of the moon. Just recently, the north node of the moon moved into Aries. And I went, oh, Aries, right? And she said that the north node of the moon is like the head of the dragon diving into, like, this is the energy. We're diving in the collective head first into this Aries energy. And Aries is a fire sign. Aries is the ram that is like, go, go, go. Aries is very much a right now, do it now kind of energy. So I think that's what we're experiencing. I'm not just experiencing this for myself personally, but I'm hearing it from all my clients. I'm hearing it from my friends and my family. Everybody is kind of like, this is great. All this wonderful stuff is happening. It's creative. It's propelling me forward, but I don't feel if I'm quite ready for it yet. So it can be a lot. It can feel overwhelming. So what I want to remind you of is, as a highly sensitive person or a person dealing with triggers and trauma, the importance of staying in present moment. This is really key. And this is how I've navigated these last few weeks. Is there've been a couple of times where my go-to mechanism, because a lot of my trauma I experienced was very, very early in childhood. And as it's like a little baby deer in the woods. When threatened, we're used to hearing about that fight or flight response. But there's another one for the very, very young. It's freeze. And that tends to be my go-to when I get really triggered, is I just kind of freeze up. Like, I want to just retreat, withdraw, stay in my house, not go anywhere, not do anything. I don't have to. The trick that I've been using to cope with this is really being present in the present moment and focusing on just the next immediate thing to do. So I work full-time. I run a business that is growing and developing very quickly right now, branching into new areas, like I said, coaching. I just opened a new office for my practice. I'm teaching a class. So I just have to really, really focus on the immediate task at hand. This reminds me a lot of something that I experienced back in early 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic. Like many of you, I'm sure that initial shutdown was really scary for me. It was very triggering. I found myself having a lot of anxiety, trouble sleeping, panic attacks. It was really troublesome. And one of the many things I did, because I was alone in a small studio apartment and very isolated, so I was doing a lot of stuff online, and I was really surprised that this guided meditation turned out to be, they didn't call it this, but in my experience, what I had learned from one of my early mentors as a shamanic journey. She took us on this guided meditation where we met a helper spirit. And then she said, and now you're aware that there's a presence beside you. It might be an angel, it might be a deceased loved one, maybe a spirit guide, maybe some sort of a power animal. And I instantly got the sensation or the sense that it was an animal. And even in meditation, I was kind of anticipating, like, oh wow, I wonder what it's gonna be. Maybe it's gonna be like a condor or a jaguar or a wolf or something really like that, right? And then I turned, in the meditation, I turned to where this animal was sitting to the side of me, and it was a beaver. I was like, what? Really? A beaver? Okay, what kind of message does the beaver have? I suppose you're probably going to tell me something about being industrious and being an architect and having a plan and building an ecosystem. And the beaver looked at me and scoffed. And he said, that is so human. Like, that's your preconceived notion, your idea of what a beaver is. But I tell you what, if there's an architect planning all this out, if there's a grand scheme that there's going to be a new ecosystem with the dam and the pond and the animals coming to drink, it's like, that is not my intention. That is not my plan. I hear the sound of running water, and I grab a stick and I shove it in the hole. And then I hear running water over there, and I scoop up some mud and I plug the hole. And then I hear more running water still, so I have to go chew down a tree. He said, if there's a greater plan, someone bigger than me is the architect. I just do the next thing. And that became my mantra for that year, that first year of 2020 during the pandemic. Just focus on myself and do the next thing. And so use this as your words of wisdom to guide you through this time. This North Node being in Aries will last for 18 months. So we're in this energy for a while. And if you can stay present and grounded and remember self-care, as a highly sensitive person, we feel and process very deeply, and we need time to retreat a little bit and regroup and just take a time out. Give yourself the gift of some time for yourself, some time to just be, go sit in the garden or take a walk in the park. Do something good for yourself. I went and got a haircut yesterday. Maybe go get a massage. Do some energy healing or some breath work. There's lots of modalities to explore. Keep doing the next thing. Stay on your path and trust that there's a greater scheme playing out, but you don't have to be aware of all the big plans and all the details if you just continue to do the next thing. So that is my take on this crazy energy that we're in, and how you can cope with it. But if you continue to do that, you can and avoid the overwhelm. We started out the year with this building energy, kind of like a wave. And right now, as the north node of the moon is moving into and will be moving through Aries in the next 18 months, we're like the wave is cresting. And you can either be swamped by it, or if you stay grounded and present, you can rise up above it and ride that wave. Let it propel you forward on your path. So that's my take on the energy that we're living with right now. Take advantage of it, make the most of it, but most of all, take care of yourself. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, if it resonated at all with you, please leave a comment. I'd love to see your comments. I'd like to hear from you if there's a particular topic that you're interested in knowing more about. There's also a link to my website if you're interested in knowing more about me, about my services and what I do. And if you want to get notified of future videos, hit subscribe and then the bell, and you'll get notifications every time I post a video, about once every week. So I hope I see you then. Until then, peace. Namaste.